on the same page, make sure, if you haven't already, and I love there. What should we be doing then? Take a guess. Take a guess. Mike, what do you think? Have your notes out. That's a good start. What else should we be doing? Yeah, signing into your calculators. It has only been about 60 days of us meeting now. Now, we fill in the days on the front. I don't know what day. I think you guys might snake around until the Monday after. Is that when the test would be for you all, according to the schedule? Okay, great. So make sure, please, that everyone is on the same page. That means, yes, you come back from the break. This is going to be, and we've had so many, well, people have asked, is there extra? And the answer is no, but at the same time, we're realistic. We say, well, show me, number one, that things are, in fact, outside. So, hang on, do this, grab the quiz, and take it down at the end of the hallway, sit down, and math that, bring it back when you're done. Okay? Now, so we have our exam coming up on, for you all, Monday. It's going to count in quarter two. So, if you had a test grade that wasn't where it needed to be in quarter two, this is your last opportunity to have a good test grade in there to sort of counterbalance it. And if you have just one that's low, then you go through and say, well, I can do something here to bring that mark up. The one thing... This is from... Through will be good. We'll show you what the answers to the quiz are in just a second. Just so you know, each of the questions was worth 4 points, but bigger picture, who can tell me something that they noticed about the last two questions on the quiz? One person, two. Stephen, what do you want to say? Now, yeah, and where did you find them in your notes? Can you narrow it down just a skosh? Yes, it is in the packet. Go through right now, please, and find the page that those questions were from. What? What page? 28. Page 28. If you did your homework, which questions should look for very easy for you to do? 53 or 54. I know I gave you one of them, and then you had an option up above to go through and see what those other ones were. So the part, at least from my perspective, that gets frustrating is at some point we have to say, you know, well, I did the homework, but you've got to make sure, frankly, that you go through and know how to answer the questions out. So here's three. This last one was from your section. Looking at what was there, first one up, all it is converting to exponentiating. Each question, just so you know what your answers are, each question was 4 points. So you convert the first one into exponential form. That's it. Log base 4 of x is 2. Exponentiate out. Do you have a question? Yeah. Here you go. Now, second one out. How can I get a natural log of 20 knowing that I have logs of 2s and 5s? Well, I can get to 20 by taking 2 times 2 times 5, and then this person expanded it out correctly. When you expand, what does multiplication convert to? Addition. Okay? So each one of those, no partial, 4 points apiece. Then going over to here, we'll walk you through every step of what happened. But this person did it something that the other the other two people, the other ones that we pulled from above, didn't. Now, the only thing I would modify, this right here should have one set of parentheses around it as well. You could actually go into determining that this is x log base 2 of x squared minus 6x, but they're not incorrect right now. They would go through and exponentiate this, so 2 to the 4th is equal to the argument, 16 equals the argument, set it equal to 0. They factored it down. They got 2 answers. Now, the problem that we had, and a couple people asked, so we'll address it now universally. You can go through and use the check feature on the calculator all the time. But when you get the triangle next to it, what does that triangle mean? We said it before. What does that little triangle next to those logarithms mean? Yeah. It's telling you, just like on a road, caution, I don't know what this is going to be. Am I allowed to tell you what it's supposed to work out to be then? No. You have to find some other way of doing it. But we even, last time we had class, didn't we say when it says justify your answers, this should be shown? We went through that specifically. Did you put that on your paper? Take a minute to ask yourself, did you do that? Now, if you did that, you could go through and see log base 2 of 8, log base 2 of 2, this would be 3, this would be 1, so 4 equals 4. Over here, look at that, cannot have a negative argument. I'd sit there, if I was grading this question in June, right, and I saw this person's work, I would want to go to their house immediately, open the door, give them a high five, and then just leave. That would be it. That's how terrific and comprehensive that work is. Very, very good job. Now, and this was one of the choices. Which question number was that on page 28? Go back and look, see what number it actually was. 45? Okay. One of the ones you could have done. But all of them were in this same vein. Now, for the next one over here, they made the right substitution in. I love this too, because even in the other sections, they didn't show me that they knew this. You've got to understand that that is a number value, e to that power. It's not something magical, it's a number. So you go through and compute out what this is, so they use the exact value, then they divide it out. Notice nowhere in it says round, so you don't round until the very, very end. They did a terrific job. This is so comprehensive and shows everything. Each one of these, first two is 4 points. Condensing is 1, exponentiating and getting to here is 2. Solving is 3, checking is 4. Now, you can get partial credit if you got like a wrong equation, but went through and checked and rejected the answers that you got. Yes? What? No. Which expression is going to be equivalent to that? The only problem is that expression is not equivalent to it because it does not have the correct base. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yours would be 2 to the 4th is equal to x. At which point you will get the same x, but you are not expressing it in the correct log form. Okay? Yes?
What's also like the C, like the C2, could 2 be C?
No. How can you get, what can you do to get a natural log of 20 using 5s? If you did that, right, you could do 5 times 5, which would be how much? 25, or 1 5 is 5, so we can't get there. Yeah? So you kind of work backwards to it? I'll say this, that way maybe works on a multiple choice question, and when we talk about, solving it out using strategies, what's that?
I didn't work backwards. I saw which one could possibly add up.
Oh, so you're saying you evaluated out what natural log of 2 was?
Yeah.
Okay. That would work, I guess, on this question, because you're finding like some number-ish equivalent to it. You're sort of finding a calculated way of doing the question, whereas this question, the intent of this question is not to use the calculator on it. You're not wrong if you show me natural log of 2 equals this, so how many of them would I need to have 2 times this A value and then B? So you work to it using like approximations. I'm sure you wrote out a couple of huge long decimals and then saw which one was equal to natural log of 20. That's fine-ish, but understanding that I could easily have said no calculator permitted and taken that away, so you wouldn't be able to get there. Okay? The one thing though that, yes, you have a question too?
Well, on the last one.
Yep, you're talking about number 4?
Yeah.
Hey,
I got to see it.
did you do it as a, go ahead. It wouldn't be negative 10. What you would go through and do, actually wait a minute, so you're saying that,
I got
oh, so you did it what it would be 10 years prior? That might actually work. Because you're going through what you put in the p-value, you put 10,000, right? So you work backwards. I think that, but that's alternate but equivalent. So I think you get credit on it. I'll say this. If I take off work, remind me. It's not how we show it, because the problem is we put constraints on our t-value to say time can't be negative. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you can't sort of go back. What you did, though, is you started off, this function models it, so you started at a later point and went back 10 years to find it as opposed to going forward. Yeah, and that will give you the right, yes, because it's a separate point along the line. You're just saying, I'm here, go backwards to find it instead of going forward. Well, okay, if I take off, remind me, but it's not the way that we would expect you to answer the question. That answer. What?
I ended up with 1 cent different. I didn't round it all, but good.
Somewhere along the way, you lose a
I think
point.
calculator must have auto-rounded or something.
Calculators and
I don't know.
But somewhere along the way, there was some sort of truncation of value. So just, you lose a point for rounding. Okay? Now, the one that we just, again, this is the thing that the one thing that I found so interesting, and that you all expressed so much dismay with, was you came in, and when you took your exam last year, your understanding of where you were was up here. And from multiple conversations, at least it seemed like you thought you were here, and in reality you were down here. Okay? Now, we're going to make it crystal clear to you that during your exams and all of that, the exam itself should be a moment of going through and saying, oh yeah, I know that. And even if you don't know how to do it, even if you don't get the question right, on a question like number 4, what should everyone get right?
The equation.
The equation. And if you don't know that, it's obviously going to be next to impossible for you to get the question. The other conversation that somebody and I had in the beginning, it's very clear. There's a difference between doing the homework and knowing how to do it. Okay? And for some of us, that's a huge chasm, huge divide. What we need you to understand is, and it's not judging, and dear Lord, I don't know if it's a home pressure or who the pressure is coming from, but at times you all equate your self-worth to whatever the heck your Algebra 2 and or other grade is. Is it possible? Let me just, you're going to be our guinea pig, ready? Okay. Have you ever known someone who had very high marks, who was a jerk? Have you ever known someone like that? Now, have you ever known someone who had very low marks in any class, but was a decent, like a good person? Okay, there you go. We just found 2 counterexamples for your self-worth being that person. Great. Get over it. What it is it's a reflection of what you know. I'm not going to do some game with us where we're sitting here going, oh, you can only answer, one of the questions, but you brought in cupcakes for everyone on Valentine's Day, 86. Would you want your doctor to go through and on their medical boards have gotten, 1 out of 4 questions correct, but they brought in cupcakes to the supervising doctor and they passed their medical boards? Is that how it works? Would you feel comfortable with that person taking? Does anyone in here have their appendix out? That's always fun. I can't think of many surgeries. Has anyone in here had a surgery before? Okay. How would you feel going in if the nurse said, listen, I know this doctor isn't the smartest guy, but he is so nice. Would you want that person to cut you open and have surgery on you? I would. If the nurse said that right before they put me under, I would have had an accident. I would have been, what? They're nice? I would take, did you see the show House on TV? Who's here? Raise your hand if you saw the show House. Was he nice? No. Would you want him as your doctor?
Yes.
Yes. Every time. That's the thing I find so funny. Even with kids in here. Once in a while there's one person who said, teacher X, oh, they're mean. Who cares? You want to leave better than when you come in. My problem is there's too many people who are too nice. Sit there and go, oh, you know what? You know what we're going to do today? We're going to watch a video about a number And then we'll have you do some sort of diorama in a shoebox and make a picture, write a little seascape of a number. And then we'll talk, oh, and then, do you feel good about it? Wonderful. How does this number make you feel? We can do an interpretive dance. Get real. There's no interpretive dance component on the reach. You will be shocked. My favorite thing, too, to do, and I make it every year, when you get out of that Regents exam, my favorite thing to do is to watch the faces of the kids that I've had go through. And I'm talking, my kids that I had last year actually failed the Regents exams at least once, most of them twice. I had them come in, they left the exam going, oh, I didn't know how to answer this one question. I got right to the end, and I know I made a rounding mistake, something, yada, yada. And there's other kids going, what? Or they start going, like, did they, it's when you hear them saying, I had no idea what I'm doing. And the other kids look at them and be like, what did you do all year? This is when you prepare to make sure you're not going through that terror that you had on your last question. Period. Is it difficult? Sure. It absolutely is. This is our practice. Are we going to get better the first time? No. Some of us, though, we need to get over this notion that, you know, if I pray to the heavens long enough, good things are going to happen. And in my tireless pursuit to make sure there's not a question that you can't do, I found one on the reach. It might relate to what we're doing. Boy, I've got a hunch. And here's one. The formula for this is not given on the Regents exam. So, if I'm you, I'm trying to denote that this is significant. As best I can, you know what I'll do? Start getting this down. Now, I have the blinking lights around it. Maybe if there was more that I could go to. Let's see. So someplace on there, copy this down. Period.
Is the H the amount of like half-life times that have passed?
No, H is what the half-life time is.
Gotcha. Oh. Little circle.
A sub 0. Just a notation. Now, maybe this will make it seem somewhat significant, right? I have fireworks going off all around it. Maybe that will draw your attention just long enough for you to write down what it's saying. The final amount is equal to the initial amount times 1/2 raised to the time over half-life time. Oh, period. Now, if you didn't know that formula, there may be perhaps a question on a Reg and or a question in class that you wouldn't be able to answer. We're not going to, you may not know it individually, but the group will. At least you've been shown it. So someplace down there, make sure that this is down. This will come up on the exam, maybe, strong hint. And I'd love it if it came up on the Regents exam, because it will be a great opportunity for you to separate yourself from your peers. You need to know what goes where, etc. Do we have questions on this? Yes or no? Someplace on it, do we all have this written down? Fabulous. And by the way, make sure you know what the stuff is. Now, we left off on this page here. Go through and answer out 31A right now. Page 31, question A. Read, answer the first one right now. Now, what would we have to go through, taking a look at what's there, what would we have to go through and do in order to answer out this question? What would your first step be? Logan?
You would multiply everything, or you would replace the 2 and 5.
Okay. So, we need to go through, what else would you do? Because there's more than that.
And then multiply everything together.
No? Who can tell me, please, what we would go through and do in order to answer this out? You know?
You find P of 5 and P of 0.
Let's find P of 5 and then P of 0, and how would you find the average rate of change once you found those values?
It would be difference in time over the change in the value, so it would be 2005 minus 2000. I'll mix that up.
Yeah, you said it the wrong way, but those are the right expressions. You need to find the change in the output over the change in time. How can we figure out what our change in the output's going to be? So go through right now. All you have to do, loves, go right into the calculator. That's it. There's very little computing. And the other thing we need to make sure of is, we'll do this. Now, you can do it with the bar. That doesn't matter. Looking at what we have here, so this person, as it stands, has shown me 2 substitutions, at least when I pulled the calculator screen. Right. Now, whomever this is, I'd say delete what you have right now, because this is going to get us into some problems. So, this person evaluated the function at 5 and at 40. Now, do out control division. That's going to give you an expression. In the numerator, you do not use exact values. You do not use rounded ones. You need the exact one. So how can you find it? Go right up to the 45 and change and press enter on it. So arrow up until you get to the 45 or 45.7-ish, blah, blah, blah. Hit enter, minus the second entry. There may be decimals hidden back there. Hit enter on that. All over. Now in the denominator, you can go right away down to 5 or 2005 minus and press enter. And that's going to give you that. This is what needs to be on your paper. Not about this. This exactly. Again, our goal, and notice, you've done almost no math so far. None. You've applied a concept, but that's it. So this right here should be what's on your paper. And what answer are you going to give out as your final answer? Cece, what would you say as your final? What did you catch yourself doing and stop? Yeah, you got to make sure to go back and that you're giving rounding. Rounding mistakes are completely inexcusable. Questions on that? Now, second question up. Based on the model, the solution of P of t equals 50 gives the number of years it will take for the population of country A to reach 50 million. Algebraically determine the solution exactly and as a decimal confirmed graphically. So this is asking me to do 3 things. So if you're struggling with making sure you're answering, here's the first question, second, and third. 3 things are going on right now. You're asked to do 3 things. Confirm, get the answer exactly, then get it as a decimal, and then get it on a graph. Let's start out with getting the answer exactly. What equation would I go through and write out in order to solve out B? Read what's there. You all have enough information. What equation would we go through and write out and solve to answer out question number B? We got 1 person. 2, 3. Yeah? What do you think? No, you got to solve an equation. So, what's the equation that you're solving going to be? Who can tell me, please, what our equation is going to be? Okay.
50 equals 40e to the 0.0272.
This is what P of t is, guys. So replace the P of t with 40, and it was 40e to what power?
0.0272.
And by the way, before we go on, I forgot to do this, and I've missed it all 4 times. Go back to this original model. This is what P of t is up here, right? That's your P of t. What type of model is that? Hands up, please, when you can tell me. And this, if you don't know this, you do not have much chance of being successful, or at least your expectation should be not to be successful. You can't name this type of model. We've been working with this for a long time now. What type of model is it?
Continuous.
It's continuous what?
Uh,
You're right, it's continuous what?
continuous growth.
Continuous growth. What is the rate of growth? Hands up, please, when you can tell me what your growth rate is on this is going to be. What? 2.7%. Now, let's solve this equation out. Again, these are things that should be automatic. This shouldn't take us longer than 3 or 4 seconds. Mike, what are you going to do to solve for t? No, oh, you're trying to compute this out? No. You could. It's not going to, I mean, it's just we're changing one without working towards an answer. What can we do to solve for that? Yeah. Divide both sides by 40. So now I've got e to the 0.027t is equal to, you can do 5 over 4, 1.25, it doesn't matter. What do we do now? Again, this is right now the core of this unit. This shows, are you understanding what we're getting at? The point of doing this unit. Right now, that's the equation we've got. What are we doing to solve this? We got 1, 2, 3 of us. What happens? We're up to 4, 5, 6. What are we doing now to solve this out? What? Absolutely perfect. If you are stuck in exponential form, go to log form. And if you're stuck in log form, go to exponential. It's a two-way street. As of now, we are stuck. But we solved it. We put it in an alternate form. This is a number. Now, we're going to, all of you like little drones, go right to the calculator to evaluate that out. It wants the exact answer. What do we need to do from here to solve for t? What's your next step, Teresa? Absolutely perfect. Divide both sides by 0.027. Now, when I do this out, think about it from my perspective. T is equal to, one answer is the log base e of 5 over 4 divided by 0.027. That's an exact answer. Who can give another, though? Some of you might have had another thing written down, and I didn't address it just yet. There's an alternate way I can give this that means the exact same thing. It means the exact same thing. What? That's the exact answer. Now go in and find the approximate. Do it all at once. Do control division. Natural log of 5 over 4 divided by 0.027. And Felix, what value do we get? It's going to lose points. Why? Yes. 1,000. So what should the final answer be, Felix? 267, you said? 265? Okay. Now, it says confirm it graphically. And this is another thing. I get shocked what they don't show you in Geo. You can solve this out using a graph. Does anyone know how?
You wait.
Stephen?
Write in PT.
No.
Oh,
Plug into the calculator when we got t alone, the log inside
Wait. Go back to the original. What would you do?
the log in the graph, except you can put t for x.
More than that, 'cause you're putting in an equal sign there. Well,
you would put the 2 points into data statistics. And then
no. Stephen?
Plug in as a graph PT equals 40 times e to 0.027x.
We're saying too much without getting to it. You have two halves of an equation. You're trying to find out when they're equal. Just so you're aware, You can graph both halves of this and find when they cross. That's it. It's not difficult. There's two halves. You're finding when they're equal, so plot both of them out. Tell me when they're equal. So go into your calculators right now, and everyone does it. Go into your calculator screens right now. Go into a graph, and you're going to then plug that in, and let's see what this comes out to be. Raise it to the x power, not the t. And then the next graph that you're going to plug in is 50. Now, there should be some common sense involved. Go in and input the second one, not just one. Now, there's some common sense, because in the first class, people were going, I don't see where they cross. Who can tell me why it's correct? Why would you not, why is it completely unfathomable for you to think right now you'd be able to see where they cross? We've got one person who can answer that. Two. What?
One of your values is going to be a horizontal line at y equals 50.
And our graph only goes up to y equals 6.67. So, let's go in right now and adjust. Go into your Windows settings, go into Menu, go down to Windows settings, whatever, 4.1 or something like that. Now, our x-min, if you want to keep it at -10 to +10, that's fine. The problem is we can't see where these cross because you don't know where the second line, what's happening with the line y equals 50. So, your y-min, that is even okay. What do you want your y-max, though, to be? Giacomo, what do you want to say? 100. Sure, go change it to 100. Go through and plug that in. Now, you're going to be looking at a graph, and now we're trying to see where these two cross. You can find that by going in and doing, Menu Geo intersection points. So go through, find the intersection points. So select the first graph. You don't even need to be by them. Make sure you highlight both graphs and press enter as you highlight both of them. Now, this was another question. Some people said, well, my answer wants it to the thousandth. This isn't to the thousandth. You can hover over it, but then some people are going, well, I can't make mine have the little claw on it. Fine. Go to Menu. Go down to Settings. You want it to show a bunch of digits, so tell it to show a bunch of digits. Change it from float 3 to float, 12. And let's watch what happens. Go up to, no, not fixed 3, we just said, change it to float 12. Now, when you do that, you're going to see a whole mess of digits that you didn't see before. And there you go. Now, if you gave this graph out, there's one problem that I have if you showed all of this out. And it has to do with the constraints on the question. Why, if you were doing this, would you not show the full graph? Yes?
Because the equation only applies if t is greater than 0.
The equation only works with positive time values. So which quadrants can we really eliminate? Which ones? Quadrants 2, 3, and 4. So when you give this out, and I love, we're waiting as though it's going to be different. You go in right now, you're going to show some graph that looks roughly like this. And you're going to actually sketch it, not do an ish or some terrible estimation graph. And you don't get better at doing it by staring. You've got to go through, show me out a set of x and y axes. Show me out two graphs. What do the graphs need to have on them? Well, they need to have on them arrows. Is your graph going to have on an arrow? And the answer should be absolutely. The second piece, show the intersection points. Label the axes. This down here is going to be x, and we're going to label it with what it is. What does the x-axis represent? What is it? Yeah, let's call it time. The y is like this. What's the y represent? Population. Should you show the intersection point on your graphs? Yes. Label it out as 8.26, comma 50, or 8 point whatever we said it was. How many spots did we say? 8.265?
Yep.
And then put that, comma 50. Label the points. Label the graphs. One is y equals 50. The other one you can label as, what did we call it, P of t?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, questions on that? Answer out question C. When, in what year will country A's population equal 50 million for the first time? In what year will that happen? Stephen?
Year 9.
Careful. You didn't read the question. Who's got an alternate? Felix? During 2008. I always put that on there as a modifier of my answer so the person knows what I'm saying. Because Stephen's answer, I argue, isn't even that wrong. What's 2009? That's the first year that first full year, that the population is about 50 million. This would happen about a quarter of the way into the year. Now for the next one, down here, so this is going to end. I'm going to send you out the video from the other class. Your task is going to be to go through, here's your job, here's what I'd advise. Your job should be to finish this question and any 4 for homework. You get to pick the 4. If you've got questions, you've got to stop in and see it. Or stop down to the math class. I'll send it out to you through Remind by the end of the day. Hopefully by the end of 2:30. Okay? Make sure your stuff is there. These also should be inputting in the computer within the next couple of minutes. Your quizzes from today. So, where did Olivia go? Did she not come back at all?
No.
For the whole block?
You probably want to take math on videos that much time.
Make sure, please, that you go through and get those done. Be ready. Next time's review, and after that's your unit exam.